Federal government adopts data gathering to address neonatal challenges. Katsina State government inaugurates new secondary schools on the Adolescent Girls Initiative for Learning and Empowerment project. People's Democratic Party Governors Forum enjoins federal government to review microeconomic and fiscal policies. Hello and welcome to late evening news at 11 on Nta News24. I'm Nancy Godi Angonehu. President Bola Tinubu and First Lady Oluremi are back in Abuja from Rio de Janeiro, where they attended the 2024 G20 Leaders Summit. The Nigerian presidential airplane landed at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, at about 20 minutes past 10 Saturday night. Nigeria was invited as a guest country for participation at the summit of the 20 biggest economies in the world. At the summit, President Bola Tinubu announced commitment of Nigeria to the Global Alliance Against Hunger and Poverty, launched by the Brazilian president of G20. On the sidelines, President Tinubu met with Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund, IMF, Kristalina Georgieva, where the Global Financial Agency commended the Tinubu administration's economic reforms and their positive impacts and indicators. The Nigerian leader also had some bilateral meetings and saw to the signing of letter of intent for Nigeria's partnership with 3 Brazilian companies to facilitate development of Nigeria's livestock sector. The Nigeria Police Force Explosive Ordnance Disposal EOD unit has successfully recovered unexploded ordnances in the Dala Kachala area of Maiduguri in Borno State, following reports from vigilant residents. A statement by the force indicates that the EOD operatives recovered 6 unexploded projectiles and 1 mortar bomb near an uncompleted building. The EOD unit has safely removed the ordnances, declared the area safe, and conducted explosive risk awareness campaigns to sensitize residents. Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has applauded the EOD operatives in Borno State for their prompt response and professionalism in preventing series of calamities, as many IEDs have been safely recovered in many instances within the state. IGP Egbetokun enjoined members of the public to refrain from handling suspicious objects and to promptly report such discoveries to the police for prompt action. And Deputy President of the Senate, Barau Jibrin, has advocated partnership between the police and the community towards achieving a secure and peaceful Nigeria. He made the remark while donating 1,000 operational motorcycles to Kano State Police Command to boost its operations. Elizabeth Yila reports.
The Deputy President of the Senate, Barau Jibril, donated 22 operational vehicles to Kano State Police Command with a promise to do more for effective policing. In fulfillment of his earlier pledge, the Deputy President of the Senate donated 1,000 motorcycles to the command.
The business of security is not something that is bestowed on the shoulders of government alone. And it's not something that is bestowed on the police force alone or other security agencies. It's a business for all of us.
I urge my fellow police officers to embrace this motorcycle as tool of service excellence, and let us wield them with pride, professionalism, and steadfastness.
While appreciating the efforts of the police in the protection of lives and property, the Deputy President of the Senate also said More of such interventions are underway.
My intention is this. I'm going to provide more operational vehicles. And indeed, all policemen and women in Kano State should have operational motorcycle, and I'm going to do it, inshallah.
Other stakeholders at the occasion appreciated Senator Barrow's gesture and called for others to emulate him, as security is the responsibility of all.
To education now. Katsina State government says the World Bank's approval for the second phase of the Adolescent Girls Initiative for Learning and Empowerment Agile is a strategic move towards complementing efforts to promote development in girl-child education. Governor Diko Rada said this during the inauguration of the first phase of the school construction project in Katsina. Awal Haliru reports.
The first phase of the initiative supported the construction of 75 secondary schools across the state. Governor Dukorada highlighted the World Bank's crucial role in enhancing the learning ecosystem of the state. The governor appreciated the inclusion of teacher training, ICT skills, empowerment programs, and essential facilities like laboratories
and all other things that are needed in the class to function. And I'm glad that the project is concentrating again on the issue of teachers training.
The state government has also announced plans to publish a recent competency test for secondary school management and construct 3 special model secondary schools in each senatorial district in the state.
The project includes collaboration, for example, with the traditional leaders and the religious leaders to encourage girls to stay in school.
Continuous quality assurance support to schools has been prioritized, and the ministry has digitized the quality assurance checks.
The Agile program has received over 30 billion naira from the World Bank, with plans to extend teacher training, capacity building, and entrepreneurship skills program in the second phase. Awal Haliru, Nta News.
Still on education, Bauchi State's Governor Bala Mohammed says his administration is in the process of integrating Islamia schools into the formal education sector for the students to compete with their counterparts in Nigeria and beyond. The Bauchi State Deputy Governor Muhammad Awal Jato stated this while closing the 39th Quranic competition in Jama'are. Awal Abdullahi has more.
This is Nafiu Rilwanu, a contestant from Tafawa Balewa local government who emerged as overall winner in the just concluded Bauchi Quranic competition, while Aisha Imam Abba of Katagum local government won the women category.
وَإِنَّكَ لَتَهْدِي إِلَى صِرَاطٍ مُسْتَقِيمٍ
وكانوا شيعا لست منهم في شيء.
The contingents were advised on the need to put into practice what they have learned before, during, and after the competition.
It is gratifying to note that since the inception of the Musabaka in 1986, delegates from Bauchi State have been making excellent outings at both national and international levels of the competition.
The winners are to represent Bauchi State in the next national competition scheduled to hold in Kebbi State. In Bauchi, Awal Abdullahi, NTA News.
The House of Representatives has pledged support for legislations and policies that encourage investment in Nigerian youth, especially in the area of education. Speaker of the House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas stated this when he received fellows of the Mandela Washington Fellowship Alumni Association of Nigeria at the National Assembly. He extolled young Nigerians who have excelled in the fellowship program organized by the U.S. Department of State, pointing out that the Parliament will continue to support the Students' Loan Scheme of the Tinubu administration, which places premium on shaping the future of the nation's youth through education.
Make sure that no child, no youth can complain of not going to the university because of finances. Mr. President has accepted that in 2025, the budget of this particular scheme will most likely be doubled, so that we can at least ensure that we take a minimum of 200,000 students on this particular scheme.
About 678 Nigerians have so far participated in the Mandela Washington Fellowship. The federal government is adopting our study, Verbal and Social Autopsy, VASA, a data gathering initiative to give more insights into causes of neonatal, child and maternal mortality, which will ultimately provide information for targeted investments in closing gaps in Nigeria's health sector. Oluseyi Adeabo reports that the study is driven by the National Population Commission with support from the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare and other relevant ministries, departments and agencies.
Nigeria's effort on taming maternal and child mortality has been slow. In the NDHS 2018, the country's maternal mortality ratio was estimated to be 512 deaths per 100,000 live births. And in the recent UNICEF reports on the state of the Nigeria's children, the data has risen to more than 1,000 per 100,000 live births.
Every available tool must be deployed to combat and curb this challenge in our society. This, therefore, brings us to the imperatives of generating reliable data on the causes and determinants of neonatal deaths, infant deaths, as well as child mortality in Nigeria.
The National Population Commission, the agency of government mandated to generating and providing demographic data for planning purposes, is working on a new research, verbal and social autopsy, VASA.
The Commission is strategically prepared and committed to generating the data to aid planning in the health sector, and to this end, all necessary steps have been put in place to make sure that the 2024 VASA study is successfully implemented. I am very optimistic that the data will be used by policymakers as well as planners.
The exercise for VASA study data collection, which began on 4th of November across the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT, is fixed for completion December 15, 2024. In Abuja, Oluseyi Adeabo, Nta News.
The People's Democratic Party, PDP, Governors Forum is calling on the federal government to urgently review the microeconomic and fiscal policies to address the welfare of Nigerians. This is contained in its 8-point communique issued after its 2-day meeting in Jos Plateau State. Ndeyang Andeyaba reports.
In attendance were members of the Working Committee of the Party, Board of Trustees, National Assembly Forum, and former Ministers Forum.
The Forum wishes to pledge that all PDP governors will continue to aggressively pursue policies and programs that will reduce the hardship and ensure progress and development.
It resolved to suspend the next meeting of the party to honor one of their members, the governor of Akwa Ibom State, whose wife will be buried on the same day earlier agreed by the meeting. It therefore advised the National Working Committee of the party to call for next meeting latest the first week of February 2025. The forum further commiserated with the government and people of Plateau State over the Laranto Katako market inferno and the government and people of Jigawa State over the tanker explosion where many lives were lost. In Jos, Ndenyan and Diabajang, Nta News.
We take a break now. The news continues shortly. Thanks for staying with us. The Resource Center for Human Rights and Civic Education has hailed the Supreme Court's recent ruling upholding the legitimacy of Nigeria's key anti-corruption agencies, marking a significant victory in the country's battle against corruption. The applause was made by the center's executive director, Ibrahim Zikirullah, at a media briefing in Abuja.
It's firmly believed that those who have nothing to hide should have nothing to fear from anti-corruption agencies. The Supreme Court judgment is a call to action for the agencies to intensify their efforts in holding public officials accountable. For those who have lost this case, the message is clear: impunity will no longer be tolerated.
He commended the Supreme Court's rejection of a lawsuit filed by 16 state governors which sought to challenge the operations of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, the Independent Corrupt Practices Commission, ICPC, and the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, NIFIU. The people of Belema, Kula, and Ofionama communities are calling on the federal government to prioritize and address the pressing issues affecting the development of these oil-producing communities like unemployment, electricity, scholarships, and roads. Traditional ruler who spoke on behalf of the elders of Belema, Kula, and Ofionama communities lamented the neglects of the host communities, stressing that the oil company will not operate in the communities until their demands are met. He emphasized that the community is eager for Shell Petroleum Development Company to resume operations, provided they adhere to the agreed upon terms.
Barrel of crude oil per day for more than 60 years. And we insisted that all the agencies should come and see Belema, Kola, Igeze, Ofoyama, and all the satellite communities around that area to see for their production, the level of production and the level of development in those areas. There are countries in the world who are looking for only 200,000 barrels to survive. But as a community, as a kingdom, we are producing that and there's nothing to show for it. Today's meeting also addressed the government, both the state and the local government. No roads to Kula, no hospital, no facilities, no light, no water. We are not happy that 45,000 barrels of crude oil is being tied down for 7 years per day. 45,000 per day for 7 years. It's a huge resources that the federal government is losing, the state is losing, the local government is losing, and even the Shell, NNPC, and the community, we're all losing. So we want them to come and operate, provided they will sign that.
Achieving 0% road traffic crash during this Yuletide is achievable if motorists will adhere strictly to road traffic rules and regulations. National President of Rosawa, Nafisat Shehu Mohammed, stated this when she led other members of the association on a visit to the National Trauma Center and the Emergency Unit at the National Hospital Abuja as part of activities to mark this year's World Remembrance Day of Road Traffic Crash Victims. Oyeyemi Ajayi reports.
It's one of the activities lined up by the Road Safety Officers' Wives Association, Rosawa, to commemorate this year's World Remembrance Day of road traffic crashes victims with a theme that day: remember, support and act. The Accident and Emergency Ward, Intensive Care Unit, Pediatrics Unit, amongst others, were visited with different items including wheelchairs, crutches, stretchers and sanitary pads, aside cash gifts presented to patients. The Rosawa National President sympathizes with the victims and families of those who lost their lives in road accidents, calling on stakeholders in the transport sector to give maximum support for effective traffic management in the country.
We're here to see that, to yearn, to advocate for a zero crash victim routes and roads while we commute our roads, while we travel, so that we can all travel and come back safely to our loved ones.
This will resonate hope for those who are injured, that are in the hospital waiting for recovery. This has a way of helping them to recover.
It's really honoring and inspiring. You know, they're here to encourage us to take some necessary protective measures to ensure that we avoid, road accidents or incidents.
The Rosowa National President, however, expressed readiness to collaborate with other stakeholders in ensuring safety on the highways. Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
In the landmark initiative aimed at enhancing tourism and strengthening community involvement, Ekiti State Bureau of Tourism held a public engagement session to develop tourism policy framework for the state's economic growth. Olukemi Sani reports.
Ekiti State is blessed with numerous tourist site locations and endowed with waterfalls, hills, breathtaking valleys, vast tracts of unspoiled nature, wildlife reserves, as well as unique natural warm and cold therapeutic streams. As this industry continues to grow, a comprehensive tourism policy is essential for effective resource management, cultural heritage protection, and the establishment of guidelines for sustainable tourism development in Ekiti State. The public engagement session is designed to gather diverse perspectives, allowing policymakers to understand the views and requirements of various stakeholders, including community leaders, local business owners, hoteliers, security agencies, cultural custodians, and tourism operators.
Government is just a passive face. We may not be here tomorrow, but the policy will be policy. All of them will be happy that they have contributed their own concern at making the tourism policy of Ekiti State sustainable.
The event underscores Governor Biodun Oyebanji's commitment to fostering inclusive growth and sustainable development within the tourism sector, and to position Ekiti as the first state in the country to own a tourism development plan and attain leadership targets in global tourism markets. In Ado-Ekiti, Olukemi Sani, NTA News.
A journalist and legal correspondent, John Azo, is sharing his experience to highlight key insights on legal frameworks, judicial practices, and dispute resolution mechanisms that are shaping the future of international relations. This is coming at the unveiling of his book titled Contemporary Legal Cooperation, China and Africa. In Abuja, Suleiman Abdulwahab reports.
A recent conference designed to strengthen legal ties between Africa and Chinese lawyers, experts from South Africa, Tanzania, Ghana, and Kenya assembled to discuss salient issues like copyright, labor rights, and land disputes. The noticeable absence of Nigerian lawyers raised concerns, prompting John Azu to author this legal masterpiece, Contemporary Cooperation, China and Africa.
来共同为我们两个国家的发展来做自己的贡献。
Okay, so we're heading together and promote our good friendship and build the wonderful future.
我今年57岁了，50多岁了。
The Anglophone African countries were influenced by common law system, including Nigeria, Ghana, and Kenya. The Francophone adopted the French civil law system, while South Africa, Botswana, and Cameroon fell under the mixed hybrid law. The structures of a few African countries were explained. However, the chapter closes with how China can assist Africa in the area of legal ascertainment.
The author made comparison between Africa and China legal system, primarily to identify areas of convergence and promote stronger legal cooperation to support trade between the two continents.
So that was why I decided to put it together, compile it in a book, and then draw the attention of Nigerian lawyers that these people who have invested billions of dollars in Africa, they're almost like latecomers. United States have been investing, UK almost for many years, and India has almost $75 billion.
Writing a book on legal issues and comparing it in China and in Nigeria, and it's targeted at encouraging people to understand your environment even as you invest, And it will benefit both countries, Chinese coming to Nigeria and Nigerians going to China to do business.
The book encourages African lawyers, especially Nigerian lawyers, to be more active in international legal dialogue to leverage opportunities and understand the evolving legal landscape between Africa and China. In Abuja, Suleiman Tobu Abdulwahab, NT News.
And with that report, we end the news. Thank you for watching. Nancy Godi Angonihu.